Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exclusive Consciousness. This is episode 12, Finding Your Voice. Today I have a very special guest, someone who is dear to my heart, someone who I appreciate and love so much, one of my closest friends, an absolute beast of a life coach. And he's honestly only here for one night, and he's going to give us some of the best advice we probably ever heard when it comes to finding and unlocking our voice. Someone who really knows how to develop and really truly understand the deeper meaning in someone's life when it comes to finding the authenticity, I think. I wanted to bring him on to talk about that a little bit. So without further ado, Caleb Cantu.
Thank you so much, Luigi, for that very gracious introduction. And, first and foremost, I hope you guys get a lot out of this because me and Luigi have a lot to say. So thank you.
Absolutely. So first, to start off, obviously, like you guys know the format when it comes to guests, we're definitely going to have some questions in there mixed in with our topic. To start off, my first question to you is, how long did it take you to find your voice?
That's a great question, Luigi. I would say that finding your voice is definitely something that's not finite in the sense that you are always going to find your voice. You as a person, you as a individual are going to meet more individuals, meet more people who open your mind and allow you to experience new things and get different opinions. I think it's very important that you find your voice so that you can have these conversations, but you're not swayed by everybody that you meet. It's very important to be grounded in who you are. And so I would say that I really wasn't grounded in who I was, or at least who I wanted to be, until probably junior year, senior year of high school. When I really found my voice was a few years after that, because I finally let go of the expectations that people had of me, and I let go of the limits that I put on myself. Because when you put yourself in a box, you tend to think that this is how I have to behave and this is how I have to feel. But finding your voice means that you are feeling how you feel and trying to manage that in the best way possible for not just yourself, but so that everybody you meet can also benefit from you and your experiences.
Absolutely. So do you think that the junior, senior version of yourself was kind of like the prelude to the actual voice that you found after you kind of left school and was more natural, more finding you in a sense, right?
I would say that junior, senior year Caleb was like the cocoon. I was a little worm. I was a caterpillar. I was brand new to the game. I didn't even understand who I really was. So I was finding my voice, but that right there was the beginning of my metamorphosis into the confident and into the cool and capable person that I am today, because you have to start somewhere, and I definitely wasn't.
No, it's clear it's a process, right? And I love the fact that you use the butterfly metaphor, because it's very true. We all start off as larvae trying to figure out what the fuck we're doing in the world, and then when we finally know something, we're like, let me put myself in a cocoon, become something beautiful, and hope for the best. Like, do you think those larvae know they're going to become beautiful butterflies? Like, do they think, do these bugs know anything? That's the trust the process part of finding your voice, I think. And it's such a beautiful thing when you reach the end, and then to be able to look at the whole journey, to turn around and go, wow, I really shaped out to be someone great, someone who can actually affect other people's lives in a positive way. In your words, what is the end all goal after finding your voice? Is it to make your life more positive and more fulfilling? Is it like a personal thing, or is it more for you to help other people, right? Because I like to say it's like you find your voice first, and then you help others find theirs, right? You can't help other people find theirs when you haven't even found yours yet, because that doesn't really help, right? Like I'm jumping in to save someone that's drowning, but I never learned how to swim. It's like, well, what the fuck? You're gonna make the job harder for the lifeguard, So
Exactly.
I'm just curious about what in your head, is it more a personal thing, or is it more fulfilling for other people for you to help other people find their voice?
I think that's interesting, because I never really went out with the intention of helping other people find their voice. I think it's very much a personal development. And so once you realize that everybody is just kind of going through their own things, and you have that cognitive awareness that everybody has problems, everybody is also trying to figure out how they feel and manage what's going on for them. And so once you find out who you are and the trauma that you have and the experiences that you've been through, and you find a healthy way to deal with those things, and not just a healthy way, but something that there might not have been healthy things in your life, but it didn't make you an unhealthy person. You can't allow certain circumstances or environments to affect who you are for the future, because it's very important that you surround yourself with good people, but you can also create an environment for yourself. So if there's nobody around you that's trying to find their voice, that's trying to work hard for themselves, then you should take that as a note that they probably, in all seriousness, just don't truly understand how you feel as a person, because they don't understand how they themselves feel. So it's exactly like Luigi said. Why would I jump in trying to save someone drowning if I don't know how to swim? So I never set out to help people find their voice, but I think a beautiful byproduct of me finding my voice is that I have the experience and the ability to share how it went for me. And if you guys think I'm doing well, then continue to practice what I preach.
Awesome, Caleb. Well, thank you for that insight. I want to ask you this next question, is kind of stemming off what we're talking about a little bit. Where does your courage and confidence come from? Have you ever identified the source?
Wow. That's a great question, because I feel like it's different for everybody. And in my personal opinion, I'm a huge believer in just trying things and failing at them. I cannot tell you how many things I've tried and not succeeded at, but the knowledge and the experience of me trying these things gave me courage. It gave me confidence to know, hey, you can try something and you can fail at it and still be happy and still be completely enthralled in another subject. And I think that trying things and failing them is essentially the best way that I myself have earned confidence and courage, because the more capable you are, the more confident you feel in your abilities. The more confident you feel in your abilities, the more courage you have to speak up and to say your opinion. And that's really what it is. I know a lot of guys that are like, oh no, I can't do this, or oh no, I can't talk to that girl. I'm like, why not? Just go for it. You know, if she says no, that sucks, but I can guarantee you, you probably won't remember this interaction like 3 weeks ago. And if you do, well, bro, like, she turned you down, get over it. You know, it's not really a big deal, but you never know until you try. It's as simple as, I'll decide to do something and I won't give up on myself for failing. A lot of people fail and they think that they should just stop. Try it a few more times. If you don't like it, move on to something else. But stopping it's not going to help you. It's not going to help anybody else, and halts your progress.
I really like that answer, Caleb, because you start talking about failure, right? And I feel like we're really breaking it down here, right? Going through the process, and I feel like failing is definitely part of that process, right? Getting back up, being able to tell yourself, you know what? One and done is not who I am. You know, I'm not a one and done kind of guy. I'm not just gonna give up because things got hard or life got tough. Like I'm stronger than that, you know, and I feel like strength is definitely persevering past those kind of circumstances that might be holding you back, or normally, you know, you're kind of fighting against them. Definitely, I think is another part of finding your voice and finding yourself, right? So I really like that you brought that up. And it almost kind of sidetracks into my next question, because I could totally see this being as a hindrance, what we just spoke about, failure being a hindrance in people's success. And so my next question for you is, what is a human being's biggest weakness?
Wow, that's a big question, Luigi, because it's a hard question to answer in the sense that not everybody is the same. But as human beings, generally, I would say that our biggest shortcoming is, and this is, I'm going to say it because it's kind of confusing, but I'll explain what I mean. I think our biggest shortcoming is our need to connect with people, because as a society, that's kind of who we are ingrained to be. We have literally from the womb, we needed milk, we needed survival, somebody had to take care of us. Our entire society and human connection is based off of interactions that you have with other people. So I think that failure is very important for a person's process and how they deal with failure, because it's exactly as I was saying earlier. You can't want this connection with someone and then fail, and then because you failed, you automatically get hurt by your own feelings. You're sad that you can no longer connect in the way that you were intending to, and they stop. So connecting to people, I think, is our biggest shortcoming, because sometimes we put too much emphasis on the opinions of others. And finding your voice is sifting through all the terrible stuff that you hear on a day-to-day basis, because the world is full of terrible stuff. But you have to sift through it and understand that not everything is terrible. You have more than one opportunity to prove yourself. And when I say prove yourself, this is once again a personal journey. So proving yourself could be, I made my bed this morning. Proving yourself could be, I do 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups every day. It's an independent process that requires one action, but it can be halted. So that's why I think that connection is probably human society's biggest problem.
I would have to agree. This is a very interesting place to take it, because for me, it's like once you found your voice, you don't necessarily care so much about what everybody else is doing, because you're like, well, I know who I am. I don't need to worry about what my neighbors are up to or what my friends are doing in their off time. It's me who I'm more worried about more than anybody else, right? At least if you really try to get introspective about it and you really try to break down this like bigger picture, small human in the large universe kind of scale, I do believe that it's one of those things where it's like, like what we were saying before is when you find yours and you help other people, right? There's this connection that's naturally built out instead of you trying to like force or wedge yourself in there with your own set of beliefs that you think might match up with this person you're trying to connect with. I used to tell people back when I was first starting out networking, I would say, you know, one of the biggest failures you could do is come into a conversation and the first thing you want to talk about is work, your life's passions, personal, interpersonal experiences. It's great to have those, but I always like to save them for like the second half of the conversation, right? Because it's like at first you want to keep it light and breezy. You want to make it kind of almost like, hey, we're just getting to know each other. We're just kind of like rubbing off on each other, getting to see each other's vibe. But if you go too deep really fast, a lot of people get turned off by that because then it's like, for example, I said this in the Shark Tank episode. My cousin goes up to Mark Cuban and immediately tries to talk to him about a pitch. And I'm going, bro, this dude's at his after party for the show. Like the last thing he wants to do is work right now, right? Like you got to know the time and place and you got to be able to pick it out and really find it and kind of find that moment where it's like, you know what? This is when I was supposed to speak. Being able to hold your tongue is one of the most powerful things you can do as a human, right? We were given 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth to speak. I've heard that over the years and it's like a powerful statement. It really is. It's like being able to sit in a room with 12 executives and be the one that's just observing everybody else, listening into what everybody's talking about and then know when to give input. That's a person who's found their voice. That's a person who knows who they are, right? And it's just so interesting where you're taking this conversation. I love it. Okay. This one's more of just like a personal question, just based on your personality and, you know, kind of maybe people are picking up on it a little bit. But what does chaotic happiness mean to you?
Wow, chaotic happiness. Chaotic happiness is, I think, a very interesting term because you don't really associate happiness with chaos, you know? So a lot of times when I think happiness, I think just relaxing. I think spending time with my friends, spending time with my family, just connecting. Once again, I found my voice, so I'm more than happy to connect with everybody because that's who I am, and I'm incredibly happy to do so with the people that I love most. I would think chaotic happiness would be a perfect example is our trip here. I've been here for 10 days. I've had a great time. We've seen so many amazing people, so many amazing things, and I just think it's insane how happy I am, but this week and a half has flown by. So that is what I would consider chaotic happiness, is the fact that you can get up, do what you want, act on an impulse, and still have an incredible time and still take care of yourself. Because if you're an inherently dangerous person, then danger is going to always follow you. But if you're inherently happy and self-fulfilled as an individual, then even if your life is chaotic, you'll always have that happen.
That's a great answer, honestly. That's a great way to put it as well. I think you're absolutely right, because honestly, it has been kind of like chaotic as far as like the activities and like running around all over the city. But the whole time we've just been joyful and happy and just like sharing smiles and laughing. And it's like I think you hit the nail on the head with that, and that's just a great way to do it. How do you value these things in order? Right? Put them in order. Friendship, money, recognition. How would you value those? Highest value, 1, 2, 3. Friendships, money, recognition.
I think it's interesting that you use those three, right? Friendships, money, and then recognition. So I guess in terms of order, I would have to put money first. And the only reason I would put money first is because I personally need to be financially well off in order to make sure that I can be here for my friends. I mean, I just spent 10 days in Los Angeles, you know? So like I wouldn't have come out here if I was unable to do so. Right. That would have been a huge issue. So friendships is number 2, because once I have my finances in order and I've gotten myself taken care of, I can bless every single person around me. And I would like to feel that I do. So money, friendships, and then recognition, because I go day to day without recognition. You don't do it for the recognition. You do things because it's the right thing to do. Getting recognized, I think it's such an important thing. I don't want you to feel that number 3 just makes it less important. I just think that it's not as important as you really need it to be. Words of recognition are great, but how many times have you thanked your mom for everything that she's ever done for you in your life? She's going to do this because she loves you, and she knows that even if she goes unrecognized, you love her. This connection is there. There are certain things I feel that people should be recognized on, and if you do, it creates this connection, and it deepens those friendships. It deepens those relationships because appreciation is so powerful. It makes people feel seen. It makes people feel heard. It makes them feel that they are grateful and that they are happy to be spending the time and spending the acts of service on the person that they've chosen because they recognize.
So what's funny is that when I first wrote that question, I actually thought you were going to put friendships up first, right? Because you're a big friendship guy. But when you broke it down the way you broke it down just now, I was like, yo, that is straight up so smart. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, have your finances figured out. that's when you're really going to have your true friendships really shine out, because you'll start to realize that you'll start hanging out with people and it won't always just be you putting, the money down to pay the bill. It'll be like, hey, homie, I got you. Oh, really? You sure? Yeah, bro. It's a $30 lunch. Like, bro, we've been best friends for 5 years. Like, I think I can cover a $30 lunch, And I think a part of finding your voice, now that, just to pivot a second, a part of finding your voice is also finding that strength to be generous with your time, with your wealth, and even with your words, right? Like that last one, recognition, I would even go, it ties into affirmation. Having that affirmation and that connection with someone, and that goes more into like a love relationship, right? Having those things, it's always going to be one of those things that you have to go and find and you have to work towards, right? It's not going to happen right away. I ain't just going to be rich tomorrow because I want to be, right? That's not how it works. But for a fact, the fact of the matter is, it's like once you have your wealth and finances figured out, I think that's one of the hardest hurdles I think people struggle with in this day and age. And it's something that so many people will attest to and say, I'm currently living paycheck to paycheck, or, it's been forever since I truly felt like I could go a week without worrying about money, right? Like that to me is a pillar of success, to have your life go with no worries having to be on money, right? Like that's huge. And I think that finding your voice is going to lead you to financial freedom, right? And it's going to lead you to successful friendships, and it's going to lead you to changing the world, because that's what happens, right? Once you have money, once you have friendships, and anything's possible. Seriously, get a group of people who are all passionate about a project, and trust me, it's going to be amazing, right? Like it's an incredible thing what us humans can do when we put our minds together and when we really want to achieve something. It's truly incredible. So we're about halfway there. We're about halfway through, and I want to take a quick breath just to talk to Caleb about relationships. I didn't have any questions about relationships that I specifically wrote out, but you could have kind of heard him talk about his point of view on relationships. So I just wanted to take a minute. Dating advice. What you got for him?
Wow. Well, I wish I could give you more because I'm currently single, but I would say that dating is just it's so important to find your voice before you get into a relationship. And the reason why is because if you go into a relationship and you can't contribute anything, you're simply there to just agree to your girlfriend or your boyfriend's opinions. You're simply there to just be their yes man. That's not a relationship. That doesn't do anything for both parties involved. In fact, it stagnates both of them because one individual isn't working and the other individual is working too much. So finding your voice is so necessary. And I think that once you find your voice, relationships become a lot easier because you know what you want, you're aware of what you deserve, and you should never allow anybody to make you feel less than. The second you feel that, leave. It's that simple, because you're never going to be.
The second. All right, go ahead, keep going.
Just leave. I promise you, it's not worth it to stay in that state of mind and stay with someone that's not going to help you grow, someone that doesn't even want you to grow. They just want you to be there for them. Find your voice. Get comfortable with your own wants, needs, desires, and then you find someone that matches those. Now, finding somebody isn't something that you can just walk on the street. Oh, there's a penny on the floor. I found the love of my life. It doesn't work like that, but finding your voice allows you to sift through the billions of people that you see in this world and make genuine connections based on how you feel, the conversations that you've had with this person, and how genuine you believe them to be. So find yourself, find your voice, find your authenticity, and then find it in others, and you'll be happy.
And then you'll find love. Find love. And then you'll find love. So next question is more of a personal question. It's going to be the last set of questions here. You're going to get a little more personal. So a joyful memory that you cherish or often think about.
Okay. Well, I like that question because there's this really funny memory that I have of my sister, Bethany. And I don't want to expose her, but it's so funny to me. I love my sister with all my heart. She's so graceful. She's beautiful. She's kind. But, they're my sisters. So in the sense that this is a very joyful memory for me, it might not be a joyful memory for her. So my sister Bethany was one day getting out of the car. We were all at Chipotle. It was good. I look over to my right as I'm getting out of my car, and all I see is Bethany just face plant on the floor. And I go, what even happened? And I look at her and I make sure she's okay. And I just start laughing because I'm the only person who sees this. It's so fun. I caught her right in the moment. That'll never happen ever again, ever. My sister's not clumsy. So that was the funniest thing ever. And that was recent too. That was probably 2 months ago. So I think about it very often.
I love that. I love that it was something close with your family. That's cute as fuck. Okay. I know you love music. So if you could manage any artist in the world right now, who would it be?
Wow. If I could manage any artist in the world, man, that's a crazy question. So, wow, man. Honestly, I would say if I could manage anybody, it would be such an interesting relationship to have a manager, like client relationship with this artist. So it would probably change the way I feel about them. I would say if I could manage anybody, I think the person who would probably be the most fun to manage would be Tyler, the Creator. I know I'd be so stressed like every second of the day just because he's a mess, but he's also like one of the kindest and most hilarious humans out there, and he makes incredible music. Not to mention all of his best friends are just talented, incredible people that are huge in the industry. So not only would I meet Tyler, I'd meet all of his friends, and that would just lead to even more relationships. So for sure, Tyler, the Creator.
That's cool. I feel like he's one of those chaotic happiness types people for sure.
Absolutely.
Which is him and like Eric Andre. I feel like Eric Andre is very chaotic happiness. Like if you got to know him, had a conversation with him for sure. Okay. If you had unlimited resources, money, and time, what would you do with it?
If I had unlimited resources, money, and time, I would for sure work on the homeless problem. I cannot even begin to tell you how much it breaks my heart every time I'm out here and I see homeless. And it just hurts me even more that we as a society don't do more to help each other. So if I had unlimited resources, I would for sure fix that because it's an issue, it's worldwide, and it makes people feel so less than. I said this earlier, you're less than, you don't have a home, you're less than, you don't have a job, you're less than, you're not producing anything for society. That will literally destroy a man or a woman's mentality. That you are not a productive member of society, that you're just existing. What existence do you have if you can't connect with anybody? I can't stress this enough. This is an issue that we should fix, and if I had unlimited money, time, and resources, I would spend all of it on that.
Yeah, it's definitely a pandemic on the streets. Pandemic of the mind, a lot of mental health services that are necessary and needed that just aren't available. I saw a house on the market now that's $7,500, and it's like a little homeless shelter. Basically, they're trying to like find the right size where it's just like there's a bed and it's got a little kitchen, you know, at least something that you can just have these people be housed in. It's like a viable solution, but also it's just like it takes years and years to develop these things, and then, you know, you get all these government contracts with all these other private organizations, and then you have all these, you know, city council members delaying things so that everybody gets another round of kickbacks because they need another round of funding, right? Things have to get funded every single year by the government. They have a yearly budget. So people knowing that in public office go, well, if we delay the project by another year, that means it has to go through another round of funding, which means we get another payout for being involved in the project, right? It's just crazy the way the fucking government is so corrupt. But anyways, enough about that. Do you think people today are more than capable or less capable of achieving their dreams, and why?
I would say people today are more capable of achieving their dreams, but I think less people these days try to because of how influenced everything is. They can say, oh, I'll never make it because there's already a huge person in that industry. Or they'll say, oh, I can't make it because I don't have the tools necessary. We live in a day and age where you can access anything you need to on YouTube. We live in a day and age where if you wanted to connect with someone, you can connect with anybody in the world. So it's not an issue of they're not capable. I think we've never been more capable, but we've never had fewer dreamers. So the capability will always continue to increase, especially with our technology. But I think that as a society, people have stopped trying, and that's what sucks.
Dang, that was a crazy answer. There were some bombs dropped in that answer. I really like that one. Okay, last question here before we let Caleb go. Thank you so much for being here, Caleb. This has been great. What's a difficult challenge you personally have overcome that led you to knowing yourself better?
This is a great question. I would say the biggest personal challenge that I've overcome would be my fear of rejection, right? This fear of failure, this timid, shy persona that I had. It wasn't because I was incapable. It was because I was unwilling. And so once I started trying more things, once I started forgetting failure and just living in the moment, trying to make my experiences better for myself, I found out that life can be so much more fun. And it's incredible when you decide to take off those blinders, when you decide to take off those limiters and really just be yourself. And for me personally, that just means that I'm going to be whoever I want. And I'll wear nail polish, I'll go shirtless to places, of course, when it's appropriate. And I'm kind. I'll talk to everybody. I will just compliment people and never see them ever again because this is who I am. And I like to spread love. So yeah, I would say that overcoming the fear of rejection and what people could say to me or how they would feel or judge me has definitely helped me find my voice.
And that's incredible, man. That's just incredible to hear that you've overcome rejection, right? Rejection is one of the hardest things to overcome, I think. Rejection and failure are probably hand in hand, and they're honestly like, I think one catapults the other, and they both kind of like really take you into this place where it's like you could put yourself in a pit, you know, and being able to get out of those types of situations and finding the happiness and finding the joy and really trying to lean on those things is, I think, the goal. And that's when you really find success, when you find your voice. And at the end of the day, I just want to say finding your voice is all about your own personal journey, right? We talked about how it's a process. We talked about how there will be stumps and there will be failures and there will be hills and there will be valleys. But at the end of the day, once you find it, you'll know in your heart, you'll know who you are and you'll feel it. You'll see how other people perceive you. And that could be their own, you know, perception of who you are. And that's fine. But when you get home and you look at yourself in the mirror and you smile and you say, you know what, I love you. Take that time to do that. You know, that is a process of finding your voice. Loving yourself is probably the ultimate goal of finding your voice. Be able to tell yourself, I love my body. I love my stretch marks. I love my skin. I love my eyes. I love the bagginess when I stay up late, you know, underneath my eyes. I think the way my eyes squint when I laugh is cute, right? Be able to tell yourself that you're beautiful and compliment yourself, because those things matter just as much as trying to impress the people with your work ethic or, you know, trying to show off all your money, right? I get it. Everybody, like we said, it's like recognition is definitely a real thing, and being aware of it is obviously a big factor in how we play our game here in this world. But at the end of the day, I just want to say love yourself, and I just want to encourage you to spread that love with others once you find yours. So thank you so much, Caleb, for being on the show. I'm so excited for you, man. I hope you have a safe flight. Thank you for being out here in LA, man. I've really enjoyed these 10 days, man. It's been a blessing.
Thank you so much, Luigi, for having me, man. I mean, you've been such a kind and courteous host, and I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to come out here and get my little Los Angeles experience and for me to share my experience with the world. And I'm so excited for what you've got coming up in the future. So everybody, keep listening. Exclusive Consciousness is coming up, and you heard it here first. So tune in for every second.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys later. Peace.